You know those moments when you feel like your dog just gets you, like really gets you. You're having a rough day. Your chest feels heavy. Maybe you haven't even said anything out loud yet, and somehow your dog is already there, sitting closer than usual, watching you differently. Not playful, not distracted, just there. And in your head, it feels like they understand, like they can feel exactly what you're feeling. But if you slow that moment down, if you step out of your own perspective for just a second, something else starts to show up. Your dog is reacting, yes, but not in the way you think. Not in words like sadness, love, or comfort. What they're actually reading is change. Subtle, fast, almost invisible changes in your body, your voice, your breathing. And this is not just a theory. In behavioral research, scientists have found that dogs don't need to understand emotions the way humans do. They respond to emotional signals. In fact, studies on dog-human interaction show that dogs are highly sensitive to shifts in human behavior, and the moment those patterns change, their attention system activates almost instantly. Let's start with when you cry. When you cry, everything about you changes. Your breathing becomes uneven. Your voice cracks. Your shoulders drop or tense up. Even your scent shifts slightly when stress hormones rise. You might not notice it, but to your dog, it's obvious. And here's the key part. Your dog is not thinking, "My human is sad." Your dog is thinking, "Something is different." There's a study by Custance and Meyer in 2012 that looked exactly at this. They observed how dogs reacted when humans cried compared to when they were just talking normally. What they found was surprisingly consistent. Dogs approached the crying person more often. They made physical contact. They stayed close. But the researchers didn't conclude that dogs felt sadness in the human sense. What they saw instead was a response to unusual emotional signals. The dog detected something out of the ordinary and moved in to investigate and regulate the situation. And that difference matters because dogs rely on predictability to feel safe. So the moment your pattern breaks, their attention locks in. That's why they come closer. That's why they watch you more carefully. That's why some dogs lick your face or your hands or press their body against you. It looks like comfort, and yes, it can feel comforting, but underneath that, your dog is trying to stabilize the situation. They're checking in. They're reducing uncertainty. They're bringing things back to normal. There's another layer to this that makes it even more interesting. Research on what's called emotional contagion shows that dogs can actually mirror the emotional state of their owners. When a human becomes stressed or distressed, the dog's physiological state can shift as well. Heart rate, stress levels, even behavioral patterns begin to align. So when your dog sits next to you while you cry, it's not just reacting, it's synchronizing. And when both of you settle, both nervous systems calm down together. That's why the moment feels so powerful, even if the mechanism behind it is different from human empathy. Now let's move to something that feels completely natural to us. Hugging. You wrap your arms around your dog. You pull them in. You hold them close. To you, that's warmth. That's connection. That's affection. But to your dog, it's a very different situation. Because in dog language, putting your arms around someone's body is not a neutral action. It removes space. It limits movement. It takes away the option to step back. And for an animal, that matters a lot. Behavioral studies and observations consistently show that when dogs are hugged, many of them display subtle stress signals. Not aggression, not panic, just small indicators. Turning the head away, avoiding eye contact, slight body stiffness. Now here's where people get it wrong. Your dog stays still. So you think, they like it? But stillness doesn't always mean comfort. Sometimes it means the dog is choosing not to react. In fact, research into canine stress responses suggests that dogs often choose freezing or passive behavior in situations where they feel mild pressure but no immediate threat. That doesn't mean your dog doesn't trust you. In fact, it usually means they trust you a lot. They trust you enough to stay in that moment without pushing back, but it also means they're tolerating it more than enjoying it. And once you see that, you start adjusting without even thinking about it. You loosen your arms, you give them space, and suddenly the interaction becomes something they actually choose, not something they endure. Now think about how you talk to your dog. You say their name. You use certain phrases. You repeat the same words over and over again. And after a while, it feels like they understand everything. But here's what's really happening. Your dog is not focused on your words. They're focused on your tone. Scientific studies on dog communication show that dogs are extremely sensitive to vocal cues. They process tone, pitch, and emotional intensity far more strongly than vocabulary. A high-pitched, excited voice activates attention and engagement. A calm, slow tone reduces arousal and helps regulate behavior. This is why the exact same sentence can produce completely different reactions depending on how you say it. Over time, your dog does learn patterns. Certain sounds lead to certain outcomes. A phrase might mean food is coming. Another might mean you're going outside, but they're not building sentences in their head. They're building associations. Neuroscience research on dogs suggests that their brains link sounds to expected outcomes rather than abstract meaning. So when you talk to your dog, what they're really doing is scanning for patterns they recognize and asking one simple thing, what usually happens next. And then there's kissing. This one feels the most natural to us. You bring your face close. You kiss your dog on the head or near the face. It feels soft, affectionate, harmless. But in dog language, that's intense. Face-to-face contact is not something dogs do casually. It's close. It's direct. It reduces reaction time. It creates pressure. Studies on dog-human bonding show that close interaction can increase oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding. But that doesn't mean the specific behavior itself is instinctively understood. It means the dog learns through repetition that this interaction is safe. So when you kiss your dog and they don't move away, that doesn't automatically mean they understand it as affection. What it usually means is they've learned it's safe. Over time, your dog experiences this again and again. Nothing bad happens, no threat follows. So their brain updates the pattern. This action is not dangerous, it becomes familiar. Some dogs even begin to lean into it. Others still turn their heads slightly. That difference matters. It tells you how each individual dog processes the moment. But the important thing is this. Kissing is not something dogs instinctively understand. It's something they learn to accept, and when you step back and look at all of this together, crying, hugging, talking, kissing, something becomes very clear. Your dog is not reacting to the meaning you attach to your actions. They're reacting to the signals behind them, your breathing, your tone, your movement, your consistency. That's the language your dog actually understands. And this is supported by broader research showing that dogs have evolved alongside humans to become highly attuned to human emotional cues, not by understanding them in human terms, but by using them as information to guide behavior. And this is why the same action can feel completely different depending on the moment. A hug can feel safe when your dog is relaxed and overwhelming when they're tense. Your voice can calm them or excite them depending on how it sounds. A kiss can be ignored, accepted, or avoided depending on how much pressure they feel in that moment. Nothing is fixed. Everything is contextual. So instead of asking, "Does my dog love this?" a better question is, what is my dog actually experiencing right now? Because the truth is, your dog is not responding to your intention. They're responding to what you're actually communicating. So the next time you cry or hug your dog or talk to them or kiss them, just pause for a second. Watch their body. Watch the small shifts, the tiny reactions most people ignore. Because in that quiet moment, your dog is not thinking in human words. They're asking something much simpler. Is everything still safe, or is something changing?